Yo, what's going on? Taylor Armstrong here, your host. We are back with another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about the importance of automations in your solar business. Specifically, if you are leading a team or have aspirations to start running a team, or just in general, how can you automate more of your solar business? All that, much more coming up on today's episode. Welcome to the show. If you are new, we're here to help you close more deals, generate more leads and referrals, and have a much better time in the solar industry. We are coming up on, I think, 370 episodes now. So quite a few episodes, a lot of great content. And we actually have a guide if you are wondering on where to start. Maybe you have not checked out many of the episodes yet. All you have to do is go to top10.solarpreneurs.com. That's one more time, top10.solarpreneurs.com. And it's going to give you a little guide. I'm just double checking that as I talk here. But yeah, that's right. Top and then the number 10.solarpreneurs.com. And it will take you to a little downloadable guide where you can check out the top 10 most downloaded episodes we've had on the podcast. We probably will update it. I think things may have changed a little bit, but these are 10 amazing episodes that you can start on or just go back and refresh your memory because awesome, powerful guests we had on, great content. Today, we're jamming on automations. Why are they important? And before we get into that, I wanted to give a quick thank you to our latest review on the podcast. We had, this was last Saturday, Joey5328 says, "Gold, this podcast is solar gold. You need help or want to better yourself, must give a follow." Thank you, Joey. You the man. Appreciate it. Always love hearing from our listeners. Always love getting these reviews and feedback. Not all of them are 5 stars, and I appreciate that too. Okay. But you can shoot me a DM too. If you got a problem or something you don't like, you can shoot me a message saying, "Hey, your podcast is trash, Taylor," or whatever you want to say. Okay. Appreciate those comments, and I'm trying to improve it day by day. So appreciate all the feedback that I've gotten from our listeners. Okay, so today we're talking about how you can automate more of your solar business. And I'm excited for next episode because you're going to hear from someone that I think has mastered automation in his business. His name is Mikey Lucas. He's been on the podcast before, but he has really figured out a way to automate so many things. Now he's doing primarily coaching, consulting, other sales organizations in solar. And he also does some like financial mastermind type things. But he has a software that he's using to help solar reps just automate more of their business. Okay? And it's Go High Level is the backbone for it. Some of you may have heard of that, but it's a CRM. It's a tool that you can use. You can set up to automate more of your business, to respond to customers, to organize your leads. But there's so many more things you can do with it. So I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to be talking about that more in the next episode. But just talking with Mikey, it reminded me how important it is to automate as much as we can in solar. Now, I've spoken to this point many times on the podcast. I might sound like a broken record to some of you, but more and more I see the top reps. They aren't the ones doing these sometimes menial tasks that I think a lot of us get caught up in. How much time are you spending on a day-to-day basis doing something that you could either delegate or automate? Okay, and there's 2 different things. We've talked about delegation. I've said many times on the podcast that I have an assistant that helps me, edit these shows, release them, with who helps me on social media. A lot of things that simplify my life. Okay, shout out to Angelica. She's the one that's going to edit this podcast. But before you even get help, before you try to outsource things, think, how could you potentially automate some things in your business? Hey, and I was just thinking before we started the show, sometimes what a lot of us are doing, I'm from the 90s. I'm a 90s kid. I'm getting old. Hey, but I just turned 30. But back when I was growing up, we had these Windows 98. Maybe some of you remember them. These old Windows computers. And what would happen on these is if you opened up a different program, if you opened up multiple tabs, the thing would basically overload it would stop loading things. It'd take forever. And we had like the dial up internet, so that didn't help. Right, but these things were so slow. And if you try to get it to do multiple things at once, it's basically going to explode on you. So I started thinking, I'm like, how many of us are doing this in our solar business? We're running so many different tasks that we can't focus on the important things, that our brains are going to explode. So for you listening to this show, what can you automate? What are some things that you do on a frequent basis that maybe you could outsource or automate? Very powerful exercise to start writing some of these things out. But as I was talking with Mikey, we were jamming on just things we do in leadership, managing teams. What are some recurring tasks that we do? And maybe if you are running a team, maybe you're not doing some of these things, but I think you should. Here's some ideas for you. I was just kind of making a running list. So I'm thinking, when I've run teams myself, some things I do typically have like a little book club. We do a little book club of sales books we read. That's something that I think is really cool that we do on a recurring basis. And we assign like a book minute during the meeting, right? Someone to go over what they've taken from the book, some key takeaways. Another thing that I've tried to do whenever I'm leading a team is do one-on-ones with my reps, right? Meet once a quarter, even better, maybe once a month, but depending on how many team members you have, or if you have like a co-manager, can get overwhelming. But scheduling one-on-ones with your team, this is something that I did quite frequently, and this is something that I did on a continual basis. It's a recurring task. Number 3, we obviously correlations, right? Weekly correlations. Number 4, something I've tried to do is get my reps to report weekly and daily numbers. Okay, what were their appointments booked for the day? What were their conversations? Who did they sit with in their appointments? Weekly and daily basis. Number 5, update appointment statuses. Once you submit a lead, did this appointment sit? Did it actually happen, the appointment? Does it need to be followed up with? And probably a lot more things you can think of in your business. But this was 5 things. So think just these 5 things as a leader. And now talking with Mikey, I realized why sometimes I was wildly inconsistent with a lot of these things. Because doing all these 5 things, that's going to take a lot of brain power. I got to remember to send out reminders. What's the book we're reading this quarter, team? What's the schedule for the one-on-ones? Let's remind everyone to show up to the correlations. Let's remind everyone to update their weekly and daily numbers. Let's remind everyone to update their appointment statuses. And on top of that, just be checking in, ideally on a daily basis, with the majority of the team. And imagine trying to sell and do all these tasks while running a team. That's enough to make anyone's brain explode. Hey, so how can you automate some of these things? Hey, and you'll hear in the next episode chatting with Mikey, but these tools, whether you use a CRM, whatever you're using, there's ways you can automate this. Okay, whether you're outsourcing some of this to a team member, hiring out, maybe you have an assistant, they can help with some of these things. But if you have tools like Mikey's high level that he built out, it's called Golden Door. It's the Golden Door formula. Okay, but you can set some of these things to automate a lot of these tasks. So what if every time you had a book club, you had reminders sent out, hey, here's the book we're reading, and a weekly reminder sent out, and then a reminder sent out automatically to the person who is supposed to report on the chapter for the sales correlation. Hey, what if you could automate scheduling one-on-ones with the team? You don't have to remember, I got to organize this, I got to send out reminders to all my team. What if you had a tool that could remind you to do this and then automatically schedule it? Send out links to all your reps with a calendar invite. They pick a time and boom. Hey, what if you had a tool where you could send out a reminder for your correlation? What if you had a tool where you could send out text reminders for reps to update their weekly and daily numbers without you having to pester them about it? What if you had something that could text the rep after every appointment status and ask for an update on that appointment? Okay, so whether you're running a team or not, like, how can you set up these automations? Because how useful would that be? Even say you're just an individual lone wolf rep, you should be doing these things. You should have your own personal book club. We all want to be reading books every day. You should be updating your numbers daily and weekly. you should be updating your appointments every single day. So even if you're not running a team, how can you automate some of these tasks? Maybe for you, if you are just like a rep listening to this, maybe you set a recurring reminder to go out. Okay, but there's tools like what Mikey's going to talk about in the next episode. And by the way, all our current society members in the inner circle, they all have this tool which follows up with people automatically and which has the ability to do all this stuff and help run teams more effectively. But how powerful would that be if you could automate all these tasks and on top of that, assign things to an assistant and just offload some of the tasks to do? So that way we're not going to be running like this Windows 98 software where our brain is literally going to explode with so many tasks. If we can offload all these, all of a sudden our brain goes from 98% taken, like all these computations going on, to where we can focus on the things most important, the sales, the follow-up, maybe it's some marketing. Okay, whatever you got going on in your business. But if you have not already, take some time to write a list of all the things you do and think, how can I either automate this? How can I delegate this? Is it possible to do that? Okay, and this is what people have access to in our program, and we're helping people do. But even if you're not in our program, you can start to automate and delegate a lot of these tasks yourself. Okay, so just something I've been thinking about, and I know some people this may apply to more than others. If you're brand new in the solar industry, maybe you're not at the point where you're trying to automate and delegate everything, but it's something that you should be thinking about, because this is what top reps are doing. They are not the ones going through all these different tasks, all the things that need to be done, and just doing it themselves. They're either automating it or delegating it. Okay, so I hope that helps. Next episode, we're going to get a lot deeper into this stuff, and I think you're going to love it. So if you like geeking out on this, make sure you don't miss next episode with Mikey Lucas, where we go into this a little bit deeper, and he gives a little intro on his software too. But hope that helps. I hope you're crushing it this summer and selling a lot of accounts. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate you sharing the episodes and liking it, leaving comments, sending me DMs. It is much appreciated. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.